Quebec Superior Court has approved a class action lawsuit against McGill University, the Royal Victoria Hospital, and the federal government of Canada over what they call the Montreal Experiments. They took place from 1948 to 1964 at the Allen Memorial Institute. These experiments were linked to CIA's MK Ultra mind control program. The patients in the Canadian studies underwent what's called depatterning, erasing thoughts via drug-induced comas, heavy sedatives, extreme electroshock, and sensory deprivation. That is literally the video editing bay here at Valuetainment. They are heavily sedated. They get electroshocked by the computers, and then they're sensory deprived in the windowless room in which they edit. Then they get repatterned with looped negative and positive audio messages. That reel was great, Deli. That reel sucked, Deli. We are doing mind control here at Valuetainment. We didn't even know.
Wow.
Played up to 500,000 times. Could you imagine just over and over again? That reel sucked, Deli. That reel sucked, Deli. That reel sucked, Deli. Over and over and over and over again.
Wow.
Well, clearly, they've never been in a group chat with all the people we work with of trying to coordinate how to get a video title.
Well, there's a separate group chat where they talk about us MK Ultra-ing them. Believe me, I've seen it. The lawsuit seeks damages for the victims. Victims and families allege the experiments were conducted without informed consent, leaving many patients permanently impaired, unable to recognize loved ones, or stripped of basic life skills. Do you guys give any credence to these mind control programs? I have a list of people who may have been subjected to mind control in the past. There's when it comes to trying to track the actual victims of mind control tactics by the U.S. government, it is a little difficult, except for the ones who became known for other things. And we'll get to those. But do you guys give any credence to mind control? Do you guys believe that the United States government or the Canadian governments have had the ability to change people's minds or control their brains?
Yeah, there's not a single doubt in my mind that
Not
we
a
do
single.
this.
So you're at 100%.
Yeah, 100 for this.
Okay.
It's like one of the few things in life that I am 100% sure of.
Yeah, I'm slightly more skeptical of whether it works. Of like if they can fully like implant thoughts and mind control people remotely. But certainly they've been trying. Like all the disclosures, everything we know about this. The fact that this case just won in court where they can now sue for damages. That doesn't happen if there's a case that didn't exist.
No, that's the whole point of them going through that process,
Yeah.
was to establish if there's any basis for the actual
And
suit.
Canada's involvement in this is ongoing. Like this is a long-running thing up until like recently. So you remember that guy Harley Pasternak, who was like the celebrity trainer and handler?
Yes, for
Kanye West.
Yes,
Amy
I knew that name
Winehouse,
kinda familiar.
Ellen Page, all these other celebrities that like very famously either died of drug overdoses or had huge mental health crises. He's the guy who Kanye exposed in tweets was like, you better act nice and sit down and talk to me or I'm going to medicate you back to zombie land and then you'll never see your kids again. Harley Pasternak worked for the modern iteration of this same kind of thing in Canada. Like basically helping to plan out Canadian MK Ultra experiments.
Wow, so it goes beyond just
like this is not confined to like
governments.
the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, celebrities.
This is like recent as well.
Well, it would explain. It is weird when you list the client list of Pasternak, and it's Elliot Page, it's Kanye. Who else did you name?
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse died of a drug overdose. Ellen Page, now Elliot Page. Kanye West has lost his mind and all his teeth are platinum now.
Or is he more clear than ever before?
Well, I don't know. Judging by social media.
Did he huff enough nitrous to undo the programming they did to him through? I don't know.
But all right, so it's funny that you tie in that guy. I have ties into MK Ultra and the CIA's brainwashing program, Charles Manson. They don't say that he was actually a subject of MK Ultra, but he had unusually lenient treatment from law enforcement despite multiple parole violations in the 60s. He was a regular visitor of the Haight-Ashbury Free Medical Clinic in San Francisco, where Dr. David Smith and others conducted LSD research on subjects. The clinic had connections to federal drug research grants, and one researcher there, who Vinny has talked about on this podcast, it's the same person, Dr. Louis Jolly West, who was the person that allegedly spoke with Jack Rubenstein, also known as Jack Ruby, who then made Jack Ruby lose his mind while in confinement after he killed Kennedy. he had ties to MK Ultra. Ted Kaczynski was a confirmed subject in a Harvard psychological study led by Harvard professor Henry A. Murray. Murray worked for the Office of Strategic Services, which is the CIA's predecessor before World War II. He worked on wartime psychological warfare efforts. And then Timothy McVeigh. There's a great interview that Tucker Carlson just did with a researcher. Her name escapes me at this point, but it's all about Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bombing, and the fact that the people who rented the Ryder truck to Timothy McVeigh claim that Timothy McVeigh came that day with an accomplice, and 24 people who were at the Alfred Murrah building on the day that the explosion happened also testified to seeing a second accomplice with Timothy McVeigh. Timothy McVeigh was a decorated U.S. Army veteran who served in the Gulf War. He was possibly exposed to experimental drugs or psychological operations during his military service. There are claims that he told fellow inmates that he was programmed or drugged while in the Army. There are theories that link him to Project Monarch, which is a spin-off of MK Ultra that happened after MK Ultra was shut down, this beginning in the mid-80s. There's also Whitey Bulger, Donald Freeze, Saran. So there's multiple famous people that you've heard their names before because of the crimes that they've been implicated in, but their ties to these intelligence mind control programs are somewhat sketchy, but there's also a loose paper trail that connects them.
I believe all of it.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
It's okay. It's so weird, the things that you don't find true and the things that you absolutely 100% do
It's
find.
just about what makes sense, Rob.
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
then let me raise this question. Do you believe that with these people, Timothy McVeigh, Ted Kaczynski, Charles Manson, all these others who committed all these horrible crimes,
yep.
was the criminal activity, the violence, the murders, was that the result of the programming? Were they programmed to do that? Or were they programmed to do something else and we only know about them because they washed out and then went on to do things because they were made crazy?
No, they were built specifically to do the crimes because there's nothing more profitable in the world than crime, and the CIA wants more money than it has access to, so they create these criminals so that they could kind of have a degree of separation between themselves and the crime.
Okay, so I'm curious. How do the Manson murders make money for the CIA?
Well, the Manson murders, that one I think was to what was it? It was like to create like fear about serial killers or something like that. But Whitey Bulger makes a ton of sense because that's drug trafficking, obviously.
Yeah, those are different eras, different applications. So like some of them might be, but what they say about Ted Kaczynski is, he was brainwashed, he went through all the programming, but then he was like kind of a washout. Like he didn't work. They didn't program him to do anything. He just left, turned on society, went completely nuts in a cabin in the woods by himself, and then started doing his own thing as a result of the way they messed with him.
But it creates terror.
It creates terror. So I get what you're saying, but like, are these people doing what they're programmed to do? Or is this when the programming goes wrong and they're actually being programmed to do something else?
I think it's possible that it could go wrong sometimes. Like Kaczynski, I guess you could make the case that either it went wrong or that was part of the plan because it was beneficial to them regardless for a crazy guy to go out into the woods and start mailing bombs to random places because, that creates the demand for people to say, like, oh, we need more government oversight. We need more government protection. Help us, government, please. But also, yeah, I could see – I kind of – see what Kaczynski saw like years ago now with
well, you read the manifesto and he talks about technology and the threat that it
it's happening
poses
now.
To humanity.
It's very much
and
happening.
you read it and I see how people on Reddit can be like, hey, Uncle Ted was right. I'm not going to
Uncle
go so
Ted.
far as to like, hey, I also agree with Osama bin Laden's letter towards America because that's a weird like channel to navigate because you can agree with Ted Kaczynski's theories, not with his actions.
Right.
There are people that agree with Osama bin Laden's theories as well as his actions.
his theories.
But yeah, his theories are like really dumb.
Osama bin Laden's?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted Kaczynski's were prophetic.
Like
Here's
I'm sorry,
the threat
Osama
of
bin Laden, like
technology.
a 7-foot-tall goat herder living in a cave. Like this was not.
He was on dialysis.
No, he
so
actually
survivor.
Osama bin Bush.
He
No,
actually came from a very
He
rich
came
family.
from money. That's what I'm
Yeah, and
saying.
he was
Right,
a
his
CIA
family was kicked out of Saudi Arabia
Yeah,
in the
but he
80s
was not-
because
He's
of his
still there. He's
activity.
still there.
But in the okay,
And he worked with the CIA too.
What I've always read is that Osama bin Laden's family was kicked out of Saudi Arabia because Osama bin Laden was smuggling guns into Saudi Arabia in the 80s, and they kicked his family out. And that was what they told us after 9/11 when we started researching Osama bin Laden's ties to the Saudi family was that, well, he's not in Saudi Arabia. He was kicked out in the 80s for gun smuggling.
Well, he worked closely with Big Daddy Bush when Bush was in the CIA, and then he got a first-class flight, him and his family, out of America.
Well,
after
he died.
Well, like his family did.
Yes, and and there was a brother. Was it his brother? I forget. I've read so much 9/11 stuff.
He was with George
W.
Sr.
Bush. Yeah,
at a
George
Carlisle
H.W. Bush at the Carlisle event, and the odds of those two people, it was like 1 in a trillion that those two people involved in the 9/11 attacks would be meeting in Washington, D.C. as 9/11 unfolded.
But anyway, my point is that bin Laden's letter to America is not the same thing as Kaczynski's industrialized society and its future. Like, these were not written by men of, equal intellectual capacity. But because bin Laden's letter to America said all like the right anti-America, anti-Western, anti-colonialism stuff that the left loves, that's why idiots on
picked it up.
TikTok went nuts for it a few years ago.
Your thoughts, because we got to wrap up on this topic and move to media, but go ahead.
I mean, I'm not 100% on anything, but this makes a lot of sense. It gives me Guantanamo vibes, all right? Because there's plenty of universities here in America, plenty of dumb students doing drugs, but I'm guessing they started there in Canada because they don't have a constitution, so they ramped it up a little bit. Like, we have Guantanamo that is not literally in the United States, but it's run by the United States. I guess they were running the worst experiments there in Canada.
Canada's a little bit dumber and more impressionable than Americans.
Yeah,
In general terms.
Yeah, like the fact that it's CIA linked. Like, this was not the Canadian government doing its own version.
Do I think they're going to win?
This was us running.
Do I think they're going to win the
Canada.
lawsuit? No chance.
So it was like black ops mind control by the United States government.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
In
because
Canada.
we work so
Yep.
closely with the Canadians on.
So do
things
you
like
think
this.
that'll be uncovered in this lawsuit? As the lawsuit progresses, could we actually discover ties back to the United States intelligence
Well, I mean,
services
even that
conducting
headline
these
said
experiments?
CIA linked. Like, it's known that these experiments were done in coordination with the American side of things. I don't know what the lawsuit's going to reveal. If they're able to do anything, it's probably sue the institution and sue maybe the guy's estate for damages. They will probably not be able to go after the government. There will probably even be some attempt to settle it out of court so it doesn't go to discovery. Something to keep an eye on, but it's not like this is going to blow the lid off of, oh, it turns out all the MK Ultra stuff worked and they've been mind controlling legions of, assassins and criminals for the last 60 plus years. I don't think we're going to get that, but I mean, hopefully justice can be done for the people who
These
got
are the
murdered.
things I was
Their
hoping
brains
for
scrambled.
declassification.
Yeah.
This is the stuff when you're talking about your disappointment in Trump. My disappointment in Trump is more or less this stuff, which he did not campaign on, did not promise, did not run on. But these are the things that I wanted information on. I wanted to know who was behind 9/11. Was it really bin Laden? What actually happened during the mind control experiments of the 60s and 70s, the Philadelphia experiment?
Yeah.
Like, actually tell us what our government has been up to, and we have not gotten
Have you ever
that.
seen The Family Jewels?
No.
So that was a big declassification by the CIA when this director came in. I forgot his name. It was like the most progressive director of the CIA that ever happened. He did this thing called the Family Jewels release, where he did a huge declassification of a lot of things the CIA was up to, and that's how we know a lot of what we know today about the CIA, including MK Ultra, Operation Chaos, and
Operation Mockingbird.
yeah, and he confirmed that a lot of their stuff either got deleted or it was what's called a ears only basis. So you weren't even allowed to write the stuff down. It was just like verbally communicating what was happening with the thing. So, I mean, yeah, that guy is the reason we know a lot of the stuff that we know today. So we need like a Family Jewels release 2.0.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
the ears only thing is very good business advice. Don't write it down. Don't send an email. Go straight up to the person. If you're going to say something that could be iffy, just ears only.
And in relationships too.
Yep.
What? I'm sorry, say that
And in
again.
relationships
Yeah.
too.
Pagan?
In
And in
relationships
relationships.
too.
Oh, in relationships too. I was like, pagan relationships too. Where are we going?
No.
Okay.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.